but about addressing the duplication of institutions, which has led to significant deterioration in both infrastructure and manpower. Allows to outline the scale of Nigeria's tertiary education landscape, noting the vast number of institutions. Besides, there are 72 federal universities, 108 state universities, and 159 private universities, and highlighted similar parties within polytechnics and colleges of education. He noted that the numbers demonstrate an over-proliferation of institutions without corresponding demand or resource allocation. Alausa says there is a critical disconnect between the number of institutions and prospective students. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, on Wednesday started to begin screening for over 500 exceptional candidates below 16 years of age seeking admission into tertiary institutions for the 2025-2026 academic session between September 22 and 26. According to resolutions reached during a virtual meeting of members on Wednesday, the exercise will be conducted by a special technical committee set up by JAM. Speaking during the meeting, Registrar of JAM, Ishak Oloyede, said Lagos, Abuja, and Owerri are the three venues selected for the screening. Oloyede noted that out of 41,027 underage candidates who sought for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, more than 40,000 did not scale the first hurdle. He added that the screening is to ensure that only exceptional and well-prepared underage candidates gain admission. The committee also resolved to request the results details from the West African Examination Council to verify the eligibility of some shortlisted candidates before they appear for interviews. An Ikeja Magistrate Court sitting in Ogba, Lagos State on Wednesday discharged Comfort Manson, the passenger accused of unruly behavior and assault aboard an Ibom Air flight. Magistrate Olanrewaju Salami discharged Emerson following the withdrawal of the 5 charges referred against her by the police. Earlier, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, announced the decisions following consultations with stakeholders in the aviation sector. According to the minister, the resolutions were reached after reviewing the incidents, considering appeals from well-meaning individuals and considering the remorse shown by those involved. Keyamo revealed that Ibom Air has agreed to withdraw its complaint against Amansin, who was arrested over the August 10 incident. Amansin was arraigned on Monday before the court, and after being granted bail and the sum of 500,000 naira with 2 sureties and like sum, she was remanded at the Kirikiri Correctional Center as she could not meet her bail conditions. At the resumed hearing of the case, the prosecution, Oluwabunmi Adeitan, informs the court that there were new developments that necessitated the withdrawal of the case. In another development, the federal government has announced plans to engage Fuji star Wasiu Ayinde Marshal, popularly known as Kwamwan, as an ambassador for proper airport security protocol after the recent controversy over his conduct at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. This was disclosed on Wednesday by the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, in a statement outlining resolutions to recent cases of unruly behavior at Nigerian airports. Keyamo said the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority had agreed to reduce Kwamwan's flight ban to 1 month and would work with the musician to promote awareness on acceptable conduct within the aviation space. The minister added that the decision followed appeals from well-meaning individuals as well as Kwamwan's public show of penitence over the August 5 incident in which he allegedly obstructed a ValueJet aircraft's movement. Keyamo also revealed that the NCAA would withdraw its criminal complaints against the artist. The development comes days after the musician apologized to the public, insisting the flask he carried on the day of the incident contained water for medical reasons and not alcohol, as was alleged by security personnel. Similarly, the federal government also ordered the restoration of the licenses of the pilot and co-pilot involved in the ValueJet airline incident after a 1-month suspension. A high court seated in the Shagamu Judicial Division of Ogun State has issued an interim order restraining the Ogun State government and its agents from demolition or tampering with properties belonging to a former governor of the state, Gbenga Daniel. The order granted ex parte followed an affidavit of agency filed by Daniel and his wife, Olufunke. In the suit, the court said it was satisfied that immediate intervention was necessary to protect the property pending further hearing. In his ruling, Justice O.S. Oloyede barred the defendant, their allies, and persons acting on their behalf from carrying out any demolition, enforcing the quick notice issued on August 8, 2025, or otherwise interfering with the claimant's possession of the properties. The court also restrained Ogun State's government from any form of trespass or disturbance of Gbenga Daniel's quiet possession until the hearing and determination of the substantive motion of notice. On Saturday, the Ogun State government advised Daniel, as the senator representing Ogun East, to stop crying foul and comply with lawful directives. Kayode Akinmade, spokesman for Governor Dapo Abiodun, stated that in response to the alleged plan to demolish Daniel's Asoludero residence and conference hotel in Shagamu, local government area. The Lagos Zonal Directorate 2 of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has begun investigation on one Duru Ikechukwu Damian, who was arrested by the Nigeria Customs Service for allegedly failing to declare the sum of $59,000 at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. This was made known via the Commission's official X handle on Wednesday, according to the EFCC. Damian was intercepted by customs operatives on Monday during the routine check at the Anti-Money Laundering and Combating the Financing of Terrorism Currency Declaration Desk. The suspect reportedly declared only $10,000, but the search revealed an additional $49,000, bringing the total amount in his possession to $59,000. During the formal handover to the EFCC on Tuesday, the area comptroller of the NCS at the airport, E.I. Harrison, said the process was part of ongoing enforcement measures. The Deputy National Youth Leader of the African Democratic Congress, Chinonso Obasi, has described the recent interrogation and detention of the former Sokoto State Governor, Aminu Tambuwal, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, as a pure witch hunt and attempt to silence the voice of the opposition in Nigeria. In a statement on Wednesday, Obasi alleged that the Tinubu's administration has unleashed the EFCC against the members of the opposition parties in Nigeria, particularly those in ADC. The ADC deputy youth leader maintained that the former Sokoto State Governor is one person who has proven his integrity and respect as far as Nigerian politics is concerned. He called on the Nigerian people, particularly the students, workers, farmers, market women, clergy, and the unemployed youth his future is being stolen, to see through what he described as the charade of the EFCC and the government. The EFCC had yesterday released Tambuwal a day after he was detained over alleged fraudulent cash withdrawals totaling 189 billion naira. The Ogun State government says it has extended the deadline for submission of title documents for property owners or occupiers affected by the ongoing audit exercises by 2 weeks. The government said the extension is aimed at giving property owners and developers more time to either present their planning permits or approach the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development and its agencies to regularize their unapproved developments. This was contained in a statement issued in Abeokuta, the state capital, by the State Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Tunji Odunlami. The government emphasized that the magnanimity does not derogate from what its constitutional and statutory actions have already carried out on the matter. It reiterated that a physical development audit exercise currently taking place in Shagamu, Ijebu-Ode, and elsewhere across the state as not a witch hunt or any individual or organization, but a continuous effort towards ensuring sustainable urban development across the state. Here in Osun State, the Independent National Electoral Commission, Inec, has formally commenced all activities that will culminate into the 2026 governorship election in the state, following the pasting of official notice of election in all the 30 local government offices of Inec in the state, including the area office at Modakeke. Inec Resident Electoral Commissioner in the state, Mutiu Agboke, disclosed this on Wednesday at an expanded stakeholders meeting and engagement held at the Commission's headquarters in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, addressing the issues of the continuous voter registration, which is said would commence soon, and the forthcoming gubernatorial election. Agboke assured the electorate that their votes would count and that the Commission would be transparent and impartial. He warned against vote buying and violence, describing the menace as cankerworm which needs to be dealt with. The REC urged all political parties, the media, and other major stakeholders to join the Commission in fighting vote buying and violence, saying the menace has been employed to prevent credible election. The event brought together major stakeholders in the electioneering process in Osun State, including political parties, security agencies, the media, civil society organizations, religious organizations, and people with disabilities.
Inec has no political parties. There's no interest we are protecting. Our responsibility, our statutory duty is for the electorate, is for the masses. So when we give this our word, we are saying that Inec is going to be fair, the election is going to be free. We will leverage on the support of all other members, all other major stakeholders to deliver the process. Inec alone cannot do it. In fact, it has never happened anywhere where Inec alone did it. But because we need the support, cooperation, even the media, you are going to support us. So our assurance again is to say that we will not do less than what we have been doing. Our responsibility is to conduct free, fair, and credible election, and we stand for that. Secondly, the fear of voting is about the process. It's about the process. Our process is that when there is a queue, the queue will continue until the time, of the time allotted for the election, until the time lapses. When that time lapses, the queue will remain, and our staff will be at behind the last person with the security to be able to ensure that no other person comes in. Once that queue subsists, it will continue till everybody on the queue is able to cast his or her vote.
I simply have told you to tell you that as far as the election is concerned, that all of you will be seated. We ask you to guarantee all of you will be seated. And most importantly, I have to appeal to you. You have to play to the rules, please. The REC has said most of the things that we have said. Most of us know the rules. Please play to the rules so that you will not be a victim of circumstances. So that is my message to you. And more importantly, like I said, your safety, your security is guaranteed.
Our commitment to safe, secure, credible, and acceptable election in Osun State stands number one. NSCPC will do everything within its power to support Inec. As we are having these stakeholder meetings here, all our divisional officers are in a critical meeting just for the CVR registration. Education is going on with them.
On token security, several Boko Haram terrorists were killed in a failed ambush by the criminals in Karito, the Sartan community in Mubar, local government area of Borno State, around the Lake Chad region. The terrorists had ambushed Nigerian troops of 145 Battalion, Damasak, located in Karito, detonating an improvised explosive device and immediately following it up with gunfire. The Boko Haram fighters, however, got caught in the detonated IED, as several of them were killed by the explosion when troops carried out anti-ambush drills and outflanked the terrorists, opening fire on them while they were already devastated by the failed IED ambush. 5 of the terrorists were killed instantly by the explosion, while several others were neutralized in the gun battle that ensued, forcing some of them to flee with injuries, while 2 other terrorists were killed in Sasawa village, Yobe State, where combined troops of 233 Battalion of Sector 2 and Civilian Joint Task Force members came into direct contact with the terrorists during clearance operations. Condoling with the families of the victims of the Boko Haram insurgency, the wife of the Chief of Defense Staff and President of the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, Ogogo Musa, said troops of the Nigerian Armed Forces deserve commendations from Nigerians for the sacrifices they make to keep the country secure. Bandits have again struck a community in Benue State, killing 3 persons. They attacked the Okpam community in Babai Council Ward of Guma local government area of the state, 24 hours after 3 others were killed in Yellowwater, within the same local government area. A community leader and a former candidate for the Guma 1 State Assembly seat in the 2023 general elections, Jermaine Jeffrey, confirms this on Wednesday. Jeffrey cites the discovery of the corpse of Elremba Ipanju, an elderly man from the community, on Wednesday morning, has brought the casualty figures to 3 following the killing of Ake Kelvin and Francis Nomsor last night. Sustained herdsmen attacks on Guma communities, which share borders with Nasarawa State, remain a major setback to the fight against insecurity. In other news, the federal government has indicated plans to revive all moribund steel companies in the country, more than 2 decades after a failed privatization drive left once thriving plants across Nigeria in ruins. It stated that the resuscitation of steel assets, whether privatized or government-owned, will ensure they contribute to national development as originally envisaged. President Bola Tinubu revealed the plan on Wednesday at the inaugural National Steel Stakeholders Summit on the development of the steel sector in Abuja. It should be recalled that in the early 2000s, the privatization policy of the government led to the sale of the inland rolling mills at Osogbo, Katsina, and Jos, Delta Steel Company, and Aluminium Smelter Company of Nigeria to private companies, all of which failed and are no longer operational today. The collapse of the steel industry forced the country to depend heavily on imports, draining an estimated $4.5 billion from the economy annually and exposes critical sectors to global market shocks. However, the president, in his keynote address, said by revitalizing Nigeria's steel sector, the government would be igniting the very foundation of industrial growth, job creation, and sustainable development. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, has called for a review of sentencing guidelines to compel convicted drug offenders to engage in community service. Speaking in Abuja on Wednesday at the commissioning of 46 operational vehicles for the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Fagbemi said such measures could deter others from engaging in illicit drug activities. NDLEA Chairman Buba Marwa describes the procurement of the vehicles as symbolic and historic, adding that it is the first time in the agency's 35-year history that official cars have been provided for commanders. The new fleet, 36 Meccano's SUVs, and 10 Meccano executive sedans will be deployed to directors, zonal commanders, and state commanders across the country. Marwa linked drug abuse to Nigeria's security challenges, stating that kidnapping, armed robbery, terrorism, insurgency, and court violence are all fueled by illicit substances. You're watching News at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come. Councillor representing Ward C1 and Ibajuleke local government area Lagos State, Oluwakemi Rufai, dies just 2 weeks after her election.